11 years ago, we didn't even know what a best practice group was. Never heard of it before. So what is it? It is, in any industry, a group of professionals that come together to discuss, review, and observe each other's businesses. You don't want to be in a group that's just like you, because you want to be able to help others who are coming up to where you are, and you want to be able to learn from others who are maybe at a higher revenue point or net profit point than what you are. We had our mixed group, this is part of the Air Conditioning Contractors of America Association, meet us in Indianapolis at our shop last week. So this is a big deal. These contractors are taking time away from their own business to come to our shop. I personally love this organized mixed group because we have a dedicated agenda. So twice a year, we're visiting each other's businesses. So the last time the mixed group was with us at LCS was 4 years ago. The business looks very different today than what it did even 4 years ago. Welcome to the Lasting Business Solutions Podcast, Indy's launchpad to sustain business success, growth, and leadership. My name's Renee Lucas, and I am your host. Today, we're going to be taking a deep dive into best practice groups. I'm really excited to have Riley, our marketing and customer experience manager, join us today because we're going to be talking about best practice experiences from an owner standpoint and an employee standpoint. Riley, you're usually behind the scenes. Welcome to the hot seat.
Thanks for having me.
It's so good to have you on here. It's going to be fun. So last week, when we were talking with Travis a little bit, I briefly mentioned the fact that one of our best practice groups was visiting us here in Indianapolis. And so we're going to talk a little bit about what that means. So Riley, I'm going to apologize in advance. I'm going to talk a lot for a minute. Okay. 11 years ago, we didn't even know what a best practice group was. Never heard of it before. So what is it? It is, in any industry, a group of professionals that come together to discuss, review, and observe each other's businesses. So in our industry, heating and air conditioning, there's contractors from all over the country that are in these groups together. Now, a lot of times you're going to have businesses that have maybe similar goals, maybe they're working towards similar metrics, maybe they're at similar revenue points, but you don't want to be in a group that's just like you, because you want to be able to help others who are coming up to where you are, and you want to be able to learn from others who are maybe at a higher revenue point or net profit point than what you are. So we had our mixed group, this is part of the Air Conditioning Contractors of America Association, meet us in Indianapolis at our shop last week. So this is a big deal. These contractors are taking time away from their own business to come to our shop. So Tuesday evening to Friday evening, Travis and I were all theirs. Riley, you didn't see much of us last week, right? No. Was it weird for you?
It wasn't super weird.
Okay, that's good. That's good. We want to make sure the business can run without the owners having to be there all the time. So that's a really, really important key thing that all business owners should work towards, right? All right, so we're going to walk through what this looks like for us. Now, understand every best practice group is different, and maybe in your industry, maybe there aren't any best practice groups. So something that I would suggest is finding one other business or maybe two other businesses to partner with. You guys can be mentors to each other. You can visit each other's shops, see each other's operations, look at financials. There's so many things that you can do to learn from others, whether it's one person or whether it's an entire group. I personally love this organized mixed group because we have a dedicated agenda. So twice a year, we're visiting each other's businesses. So the last time the mixed group was with us at LCS was 4 years ago. The business looks very different today than what it did even 4 years ago. So let's start with, Riley, I'm going to bring you back in now, okay? We had talked a little bit. Wednesday for our group is dedicated to looking at everybody's financials. Now, as a manager, you are privy to financials. In this particular group, it is an owners only meeting that we have, right? And so during the financial day, we look at everybody's financials. A couple of interesting things that I haven't even had a chance to share with you yet. Insurance was something that we saw as an overhead expense that significantly went up on almost everybody in the group. And so it was a great reminder for us, as we're going through, there was a a $40,000 jump on some of these financials from insurance costs last year compared to this year.
Wow.
Yeah, significant. So then we had that conversation of, have you had that conversation with your broker? Did your broker shop to make sure that you've got the right fit for your company still? Did you add employees? And maybe that's why workers' comp insurance went up, or maybe there's a reason that liability went up. Maybe you added some vehicles to your fleet and there's a reason for that auto went up. But sometimes when we're in that day to day, it can be really easy to overlook some of those expenses and they get out of hand really fast, right? So having that second set of eyes, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, and eighth set of eyes on there, really, really helpful. What are some things, Riley, as we talk about some things here too, that I started to ask you a question. I'm just going to make a statement instead. So one of the things as managers that we look at is our costs that are directly related to the work that we do, right? So our equipment, our materials, what we have in benefits for our employees, labor, all of those different things, right? And so as we're looking with the groups, there's sometimes things, maybe our equipment costs are a little out of hand, maybe our material costs are a little out of hand. What are some things that relate to you and your position in the company that affect expenses?
Technology is probably a big one.
Yeah, it is. It's huge.
I think our customer experience, we have technology that takes the customer all the way through the journey. And so technology is a big one, like our Service Titan platform, and then marketing, like agencies that we work with and stuff, the costs that go into that, and then the ad spend.
And those are huge. They're significant. So a couple of the things that we looked at as we were reviewing was, take marketing that you had just mentioned. Are we within budget? And the budget that we're spending, is it performing? Is it producing the results that we're striving for? And if it's not, how can we pivot from that, right? When we're talking about the technology, you just did, and you're actually in the middle of doing a technology audit within our business, right? And so looking at, it's easy to get taken by some of the shiny, bright new things, right? And I'll take AI. AI is something that I think it's admirable how much you've embraced AI and have really looked at AI from the very beginning as a partner and a resource. But there's a lot of things related to AI. There's a lot of new companies that pop up and they're like, hey, AI can do this and this and this and this for your business, right? It can be really easy for those expenses to get really out of hand.
For sure.
Yeah. And so having people come in and review your financials, even though we talk about it regularly, we review those things regularly, it's easy to miss things because we're in it so much. Okay. Now, on that first day too, we're also doing an update from the last shop that we visited. So the last time that we were visiting was down in Galveston, Texas. And so that's the person who actually kicked off our meeting by giving an update as to how things are now compared to how things were when we visited 6 months ago, the plan that we made, where they are with things like that. Okay. Now, fast forward to Thursday of our week last week. This was the fun day for you. So on Thursday, in our best practice group experience, all of the contractors that are here visit our shop and they meet with all of our team members, right? It's so exciting. Travis and I cannot be a part of that. Now, Travis insisted on showing up that morning to bring bagels.
He was there, yes. I was like, what's this truck doing here?
I know, we've got to get him out. But I actually called him at 8 o'clock to make sure that he had left. So tell me, from an employee of the company, from that standpoint, what was it like meeting with that group?
It was great. I think one of my favorite parts was being able to pick their brains on how they run their business and how we can apply various things that they're doing to our business. I know that's not necessarily the point of them coming, but
it really, that is part of it though. Yeah, absolutely.
But I think also just gave us the team freedom to open up and share about experiences that without you guys there, and the fear of letting you down or making you mad or upsetting you or anything like that.
Hurting our feelings, all of those things, right? Some of the biggest things that we have learned is because our team members have been comfortable enough to be honest and say, hey, these are things that these are things that are really good, right?
Yeah.
We're all like, let's give ourselves a quick pat on the back because there's some things that we do really well, but there are some weaknesses that obviously every business has. And as business owners, sometimes we don't see them, or sometimes we know they're there and we procrastinate in addressing them, right? But when they're noticed by fresh eyes that come in and brought to our attention, it's different.
Yeah.
It's just different, right? And it's very neutral. Like, it's not something where it's like, well, is that really an issue, or is just so-and-so having a personal moment this week, right? It's, you've got somebody neutral coming in. When they pick up on things in the business, it probably needs some attention.
Yeah, and I think another thing that was great was it gave us, the questions that were asked from the mixed group or the best practice group people that were there, the other contractors, was they got into the weeds of things a little bit, and they like asked questions that really, I think, forced the team to like step back and really think critically about like to answer those questions honestly and be real. Because I think, like you said a minute ago, like we're in it day to day, and so we often don't take time to like step back and assess things. And so I think it gave us an opportunity to like really think and be able to answer good questions.
That's really awesome. Were there any, as you were, because as they're talking to people, sometimes it's done individually, sometimes it's done in small groups. When a question was asked, were you ever, as a manager, were you ever surprised by anyone else's answer?
Yeah, a couple of times. I think there's some things shared that I wasn't expecting, or wasn't expecting it from the person that shared it.
Yeah.
So I think as a manager, as a leader, someone who's charged to oversee things and people and processes and things, it was definitely enlightening to hear people like express frustration in this area or that area or whatever.
Yeah. And a lot of times there's sometimes when we're truly blindsided by something, right? It's like, wow, I didn't know that person felt like that, or I didn't know that person. I'll never forget, this was a long, long time ago. Our very first service technician that we ever had. He's wonderful, and still to this day, we are in touch with him. But when he left, we did a formal exit interview, and he actually got out of our industry altogether, right? And so something that blindsided me was that he never knew when we hired somebody new into the company. He said, I feel like I'm alone all the time. I feel like I'm always by myself. And he was like, I don't even know. We had hired somebody. I can't remember what position. It doesn't matter. But it was like a month before he knew. He realized that there was another person on our team. And that was one of those aha moments for me. And if you think about it, in our business, a technician is by themselves most of every day, running their own calls. And it never dawned on me, because I'm the center of the business. Yeah. And so to me, I'm connected with everybody. And so it never dawned on me that anybody felt disconnected. Right. And so those are the things too that I always hope, and it sounds like you're able to pick up on on a manager level too, of, wow, man, I didn't know somebody felt like that. Or I didn't know that somebody perceives something as a certain way, right? Do you think that that'll help us as a leadership team? Do you think that'll help us as we move forward in the future with things that we maybe implement into the business or plan for?
Yeah, I think having a pulse on, like, I think that's what this gave us an opportunity at, is like having a pulse on various processes and teams within the company that we wouldn't necessarily have, because we have like our department meetings every week, and we don't necessarily do head checks every single week. We don't do like, where are you at on this, or how are you feeling, and things like that. And I think that's really where something us leaders can take away, is like we have to make time to like engage and like connect with our team to understand where they're at and how they're feeling and things like that.
There's that people person or that people aspect, right? Yeah. Funny that you say that, because one of the members of our mixed group, he's big on head checks, and he talks about head checks a lot. And so obviously that's something that you guys talked about, and we talked about that too. Kid. It was, yes. So that's just knowing too, like, what's that quick head check? And I'll say, like, that contractor, his business is about twice the size of ours, right? And so it's really interesting, because where we're at now in business, he's been through it.
Yeah.
And so he takes his experiences that he's learned, the mistakes that he's made, and the wins that they've had, and he can see where we are with all of that and what we can learn from that to maybe take a little different path than what he did, right? And then it's interesting because then in the group, there's companies that are pretty much exactly where we are, and there's companies that are a little bit smaller than where we are. And they bring a completely different perspective. The thing that I love to learn about companies who are a little bit smaller than what we are is how to get back to the basics, right? Because they tend to do that really, really well, and we can get distracted with bright, shiny things as we move forward, whether that be technology, as we talked about, maybe processes, or processes can become a little too complicated, right? Yeah, we talked last week about simplifying. How do we simplify and clarify? That's something we can pick up when we go back to the basics on a company who maybe hasn't been through that yet. So there's a lot of value there. So after they all met with our team, and how long were they there? A couple hours?
They were there probably 7:30 to about noon.
Oh, it's about half the day.
All morning.
Yeah, really half the day. And, you know, there's a lot of observation too on just the operation, seeing how, hey, when everybody takes off for their jobs, what does that look like? Is it smooth? Is everything staged correctly? How are we answering our phones? How do we look? There's a number of things, right? And so, you know, something as simple as how we look, it can sound really vain, but if you have somebody that is showing up at your home and they have boots with holes in them, their shirt's not tucked in, doesn't look like they combed their hair when they got up in the morning, that sort of thing. It's a very different perception than when you have somebody that shows up and they look fresh and put together and professional, right? Which person do you want in your home? It's not vain, it's a real thing. Okay. So these are things too that, things like best practice groups and people who visit your shop can gain. And then you, when you go and visit theirs as well. Okay. So the next day, Friday, our last day. So let me go back for a minute. So Thursday, visit, probably go have a bite to eat somewhere. And then they go back and put together all of their notes, and they collaborate and they talk and they brainstorm a little bit about what our strengths are in the business, but really where is the potential that we have and the opportunity that we have to grow and to go to the next level, right? So they put that plan together to then present the next day to the owners, which happen to be Travis and myself in this instance, okay? Now, Riley, one of the questions that you asked me on Friday, because you knew that they were gonna have a plan for us, and you said, hey, should we be there for the management team? And I told you no. How did you feel about that? Like, what did you think about that?
I thought it was going to be all of us involved in the whole process. I think even the financial day on Wednesday, like I thought we were going over our financials only, not everyone in the mixed group's financials. So I think it was kind of nerve-wracking, like not being able to hear their feedback and have to hear it from you guys or hear things from you guys. It was a little nerve-wracking, and I think gave us pause to be like, okay, what's going to happen?
Right.
Like, what's going to come from this?
Yeah. Did anybody in the group make you feel uneasy or nervous while they were there?
Maybe once or twice, but I don't know if it was on purpose or if that's just some of their personalities
and things like that. Yeah. And some of the questions because that is not the intention. The intention is never to make anybody feel uncomfortable, right? But however, some of the questions can make you feel a little uneasy because what if it's a question that's directly related to Travis or myself as leaders, and maybe your answer is not a positive one, right? And so, but those are things like that we have to be real about. So something and I'll just share one I always say too, I was like, sometimes when I get this personal feedback, I feel like I need like a bar of chocolate and a bottle of wine or something to like process all this with. But this is literally like put a mirror in front of your face and look at it and put your big girl pants on and what are we gonna do? So one of the things that has come up in the past with me before is that when I lead a meeting, I'm a very driven person naturally. I've got a very high D on the DISC profile. I'm always looking ahead. I'm moving ahead. How can we be better? How can we improve? And sometimes I forget to celebrate our wins. Sometimes I forget to talk or focus on something that doesn't have to do with performance, right? That's just who I am and it's what drives me. It's a why for me, right? Yeah. However, because of that, it can make a meeting feel very negative to other people. And so that's something, if somebody was like, oh man, Renee, I hate it when she leaves meetings because it feels like we're getting beat up all the time sort of thing. Well, that's not what I want and that's not my intention, but I need that feedback so that I can understand, because people generally aren't going to tell me that, right? I don't think you would tell me. Yeah, actually, I think you probably would. You would.
I feel like I do.
Yeah, you would. But I think a lot of people won't. And so you do feel a little more like it's uneasy at first, like, ooh, I'm kind of nervous answering that question. What's the repercussions of me answering this honestly? But knowing that there's that trust there. And that's a key thing. If you bring people into your organization, you know, we're not coming back and being like, well, this person said, you said this. Like, that's not what it's about. It's how can we grow?
I think having not been through it before, we only had a couple of people on our team that had gone through this process before. So I didn't really know what to expect. Didn't know what kind of questions we were going to get. Didn't know I was going to get cornered in my office pretty much a couple times. But it was all really good, and you could tell they cared about making improvements, or they were asking questions that sought to improve the business and not just pit everyone against each other. That makes sense.
Yeah. It's funny because in the agenda, the company that hosts makes the agenda, which agenda is always the same, right? Yeah. But on Friday at 8 a.m., I put beat up Travis and Renee. That was what the agenda said, but that is not, nobody feels good with that, right? Yeah. But we want the truth because that's how we will grow and that's how we'll become better leaders, right? So going into Friday, the why behind, I think it's really important that business owners have business owners that they can talk to aside from the management team and from the rest of the team of the company, right? And the reason for that is because maybe there's something within our management team, maybe there's something that's part of the plan that has to do with that management team or that leadership team. Maybe there's something that, when you're talking to a business owner about some changes that have to be made, that can be a very personal and very hard conversation. And being able to have that that's not necessarily in front of your team where you feel like you have to be on all the time, it's a safe space for us as well, right? The first time they visited us, I cried. There was something that they talked about in there and it felt very personal and I cried. Yeah. Me crying is not something I really want to do in front of our whole entire team.
You're not a crier.
Yeah. I'm not a crier, no. Yeah. So, but it's, those things, and I said it was not negative in any way, but it was some things where it was like, man, I know there's some changes in my leadership style that I have to make. And it felt very personal, but it was a safe space for me as an owner to be able to take that information and process it, talk through it with this group, and then be ready to implement some changes with my team. Yeah. Does that make sense? Yep. All right. So on Friday then we met, we have a team, and some of what Travis and I talked a little bit about last week, we talked about simplifying and clarifying. Clarification was a huge theme with the visit to our group this year. So the last time the group was here, we were a little more into the weeds of the operations. Our operations weren't as smooth as what they are now. We had some specific positions that we had to talk about and develop, a few people issues in there. And so we spent a lot of time, and it was a very task-driven plan that we had, right? And so something that's really exciting for me is the growth that we've had in leadership and in operations over the past 4 years allowed this visit to be more focused on a much higher level business growth and operations plan rather than the day-to-day stuff.
Granular stuff.
Yeah. And so kudos to you, Riley, and to Travis and to Dylan of our management team, because without you and the management team, we would not be where we are right now, right? To be able to focus on that higher level business growth, which is super exciting for me and Travis. So just to wrap up a little bit, first of all, I think we can both give a shout out to our mixed group. And so it's so fun. We had business owners here from Texas, Tennessee, Missouri, and New York and Ohio. So really, really cool to get that group here together. So exciting you got to meet them. And I think too, the thing to know is they are a resource for you as well, the manager and then the managers on their teams to be able to connect to them and to reach out and brainstorm and hey.
I'm already interested thinking of ways I can go visit one of their shops.
Yeah, we can make it happen. We can make it happen. Yeah, for sure. All right, so think about a best practice group or a mentor or something in your industry. I'm telling you, it will change your business. And as a business owner, it's really amazing to have those people. So even outside of the visits that we do monthly Teams calls to where we come together. We have a specific agenda for that. And then there are, I think we use the WhatsApp. Is that right? WhatsApp? Yeah. We used to use just text, but the text would get out of hand. Somebody would be like, oh my gosh, I have a string of like 55 text messages. So we use the WhatsApp to communicate outside of that. And we'll throw out, hey, does anybody have, I'm getting ready to implement a new position. Does anybody have a job description for it? Hey, does anybody have KPIs for this position? Hey, I'm running into this personnel issue in my company. Has anybody dealt with this before? And just to have that to brainstorm and to go, hey, what are you guys seeing in marketing? Hey, it's so slow. I swear the phone's not ringing at all. What's it like in your market? It's just great to have those people to be able to brainstorm with. Yeah. So, okay. Well, go find your group. Thank you for joining us. I hope that gave you a great insight onto what a best practice group can do for your business. I'll see you next time on the Lasting Business Solutions podcast.